Imagine a continent, not lost, but hidden, erased from the memory of half the world. A place where ancient forests stretched endlessly, rivers carved deep canyons, and mountains stood as silent witnesses to the passage of time. For millennia, millions thrived here, building empires, forging alliances, and telling stories written in the land and stars. Their histories echoed in every stone, every river, every constellation above. To Europe, it was a phantom, a blank on the map, while its people shaped civilizations as complex as any across the sea. Their cities bustled with life, trade, and innovation, unseen by those who would one day seek them. The Haudenosaunee united nations in peace. The Mississippians built cities. Their achievements were woven into the very fabric of the land. The ancestral Puebloans carved homes into cliffs, creating sanctuaries that defied the elements and endured for centuries. These were not wandering tribes, but architects, astronomers, and philosophers. They mapped the heavens, engineered vast cities, and left their wisdom etched in stone. Yet across the Atlantic, Europe's hunger for gold, glory, and God was growing. The old world was restless, its eyes turning westward with longing and ambition. Emerging from darkness, armed with new technology, monarchs and merchants dreamed of reaching the riches of the East. The age of exploration was dawning, fueled by curiosity and greed alike. They gambled that the world was round, and that sailing west would bring a new dawn. Each voyage was a leap into the unknown, driven by hope and desperation. Into this world sailed Christopher Columbus, ambitious, flawed, and determined to claim, not just discover. He carried with him the dreams and ambitions of an entire continent. He arrived in 1492, not as the first, but as the one who came to conquer. His arrival marked the beginning of a new and turbulent era. His landing was not a discovery, but an intrusion, two worlds colliding after millennia apart. The meeting was fraught with misunderstanding, awe, and fear. The impact was a tidal wave, forever altering the destinies of both continents. Cultures clashed, lives were changed, and history was rewritten in the blink of an eye. This is where the story of America truly begins, a story of wonder, tragedy, and transformation that would echo through the centuries. The first encounter was wonder and confusion. The Taínos saw floating islands, the Spanish saw paradise and gold. For a moment, there was hope for connection, but greed quickly poisoned it. The search for gold led to enslavement and suffering for the native peoples. Worse still, disease swept through the continent, wiping out civilizations before they saw a conqueror. Spanish conquistadors exploited division and wielded disease as a weapon, toppling empires like the Aztecs and Incas. The land was renamed, its people reclassified, its history rewritten by conquerors. European powers carved up the continent, driven by wealth and labor. America's saga began in blood and sorrow, built on the ruins of ancient worlds. Its echoes still shape the land today. On the rocky northern coast, the English sought not just gold, but a new life. Jamestown barely survived. Plymouth's Pilgrims and Puritans aimed to build a model society. Faith fueled endurance, but also intolerance, seen in the Salem witch trials. The South's fertile land demanded labor, leading to the horrors of slavery and the Middle Passage. The North grew through trade and ideas, cities bustling with commerce and independence. In town meetings and taverns, a new identity was forming: American. After the costly French and Indian War, Britain's grip on the colonies tightened. The Crown imposed new taxes and regulations, demanding payment for war debts, yet did so without colonial consent or representation in Parliament. No taxation without representation became the rallying cry, echoing through crowded streets and town halls, sparking passionate protests from Boston to Virginia. Tensions exploded. first with the Boston Massacre, then the Tea Party, and finally the harsh, intolerable acts. These events united the once divided colonies in shared outrage and purpose. The first shots at Lexington and Concord ignited a revolution, a fight for independence against the world's mightiest empire, forever changing the course of history. The Continental Army, led by George Washington, endured brutal winters, hunger, and near defeat. Their perseverance became legendary, inspiring generations to come. Inspired by Paine's common sense and Jefferson's Declaration, the Patriots pressed on, fueled by the hope of a new, free nation. The Declaration's promise that all men are created equal became the nation's creed, even as the injustice of slavery persisted in the shadows. French aid turned the tide. The decisive victory at Yorktown in 1781 secured American independence and changed the world's balance of power. The cost was immense, lives lost, families torn apart. But a new nation was born from sacrifice and hope. The revolution was not just a war, but a radical idea. Liberty for all, debated and fought for in every corner of the colonies. Yet, the contradiction of slavery would haunt the nation's future, a shadow cast over its founding ideals. The price of freedom was paid in blood, sacrifice, and hope, a legacy that endures to this day. The new United States was fragile, its first government too weak. The Constitution balanced power but protected slavery, a fatal flaw. As America expanded, the question of slavery deepened the divide. Compromises only delayed conflict. The nation split between free and slave states. Lincoln's election in 1860 was the breaking point. Southern states seceded, forming the Confederacy. The Civil War began, brother against brother, the bloodiest conflict in American history. The war evolved into a fight to end slavery, sealed by the Emancipation Proclamation. The Union prevailed, 4 million freed, but at a terrible cost. The scars of war and the struggle for equality would shape the nation's future. After the Civil War, America surged into the Gilded Age. Railroads, factories, and fortunes transformed the nation. Immigrants flooded cities, fueling industry and reshaping culture. For many, the dream was harsh, crowded tenements, dangerous work, and poverty. Westward expansion brought tragedy for Native Americans, wars, broken treaties, and the end of the frontier. Reformers rose, muckrakers exposed corruption, unions fought for workers, and women demanded the vote. The progressive era dawned, seeking to tame the excesses of capitalism. Child labor laws, antitrust regulations, and suffrage movements changed society. America was becoming a modern nation, but not without struggle. The promise of opportunity was still out of reach for many. The fight for justice and equality pressed on. By the dawn of the 20th century, America had become an industrial giant, its cities alive with energy and ambition. Yet, the nation's isolation from world affairs couldn't last forever. World War I drew the nation in, tipping the global balance and forever reshaping America's role on the world stage. The country's involvement marked a turning point in its history. The Roaring Twenties brought both prosperity and underlying anxiety, a time of jazz and innovation. But the Great Depression soon shattered those illusions, plunging millions into hardship. As new threats rose in Europe and Asia, America hesitated, torn between caution and duty, until the attack on Pearl Harbor forced its hand and changed everything overnight. World War II transformed the nation into the arsenal of democracy, uniting Americans in a common cause and fueling an unprecedented industrial effort. 16 million Americans served, fighting bravely from the beaches of Normandy to the islands of the Pacific, enduring unimaginable sacrifice and hardship. Victory brought not just power, but also a new sense of responsibility for the world's future and the fragile peace that followed. The war ended with the atomic bomb, a force that stunned the world, and America emerged as a superpower, forever changed by its choices. The world was forever changed, as nations rebuilt from the ashes and sought new ways to prevent future conflict. The nation's ideals would now be tested on a global stage, as America faced new challenges at home and abroad. The American story was now a world story, woven into the hopes and struggles of people everywhere. Post-war America was powerful, prosperous, and armed with the atomic bomb. The Cold War began, a global contest with the Soviet Union, fought through proxy wars, arms races, and ideology. Korea and Vietnam tested America's resolve and unity, while the civil rights movement fought for justice at home. Leaders like Dr. King challenged segregation, winning landmark victories for equality. The Cold War ended with the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of communism. For a moment, America stood alone as the world's superpower, but new challenges loomed on the horizon. The struggle for freedom and justice was far from over. The nation faced a new, uncertain era. The 1990s brought peace and a digital revolution, but September 11th shattered the illusion of safety. America launched a war on terror, facing long, costly wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. The limits of power became clear. Building peace proved harder than winning wars. At home, economic crisis and political division deepened. The election of Barack Obama was historic, but polarization persisted. Today, America stands at a crossroads, wealthy, creative, but divided and uncertain. Its story is one of struggle between ideals and reality, unity and division. The journey continues as each generation writes the next chapter.